future. We're going to talk today about how a dog learns, or really how any animal learns, because if it's got a brain stem and a pulse, and that includes us, it learns exactly the same way. We're going to talk about how to teach the behaviors that we want, and how to get those behaviors nice and strong. And we're also going to talk about this little thing called the clicker, what it is, how it works, why to use it, and how to use it. So the first part of what we do today is always the easiest part, because this is to identify the behaviors in our dogs that we don't like. So who's got one of those?
Jumping.
There it is. It's always the first one that comes out, and it's usually the most common. Anybody have anything else?
He barks at everybody I walk past. It's really embarrassing.
Okay. So,
Barks and gets like aggressive, but I think you just say unload it, but nobody else sees that.
okay, and we'll take a look at that, and you're going to have some immediate strategies of things you can do about that when you leave today. Okay, what else, Jay?
Ignoring me when I call him.
Ignoring, the big emotional impact. We're going to talk about that as well. Okay, now, the reason this is easy, unfortunately, we tend to focus on the negative. Okay, we don't say, I want my dog to come when called. We say, I want him to stop ignoring me, damn it, right? We say, I want my dog not to jump on people. The second part of the training process is saying, okay, we don't want him jumping, we don't want him running off. What do we want the dog to do? What would you be happy with instead of jumping?
Sitting.
Sure, sitting, that's the first thing we think of. But is that the only thing that you'd be happy with?
Sitting and staying.
Okay, so a longer sit. But any other behaviors? What's not jumping? Because this is what we're going to do. Anytime you find yourself saying, I don't want him doing X, Y, or Z, well, what would you replace it with? What else could a dog be doing that's not jumping on somebody? How did Ludwig greet you guys today?
Standing.
Standing, right? Running up, standing. So that's okay, right? If people come in your house and the dog kind of sniffs and is standing, what else is not jumping?
Laying down.
Sure, laying down, okay? A lot of trainers have really crazy high drive dogs, so they teach them when the doorbell rings, go grab a toy. Okay, put something in your mouth that tends to shut the dog up, and you can run around in a circle for all I care, as long as you're not jumping on my visitors. So what this is all about, the scientific term is train an incompatible behavior. It means get the dog doing something else that is not something they can do while they're jumping. Okay? We can teach a dog to do 8 other things that aren't running in that direction that will get them close to you. So the second part of the training process is to pick your replacement behavior. All right? Now, third thing, because this sounds like magic, right? We're just going to fix it. Well, you got to teach those behaviors. You have to train those behaviors. You've got to install that behavior. And the way I always have you think of this is the installation process. You have to actually think about putting that information into your puppy's brain. All right? Think of it as just taking a syringe and putting it right into your puppy's brain. It's like programming a computer. If you've got a dog who is 3 years old and they've been doing a behavior for, the better part of 2.5 to 3 years, you've got to override whatever programming is already in there. The dog has been really successful at jumping on people or running off for a really long time. That's a lot harder to fix than if you buy a computer and it comes blank and you're just going to put in your own software and it's not going to clash with anything else that's already in there. So we're going to teach, we're going to train, we are going to install those new behaviors into your dog. Sounds easy, right? Okay, now, I am sure, right, you said you haven't done any real previous training with your dog, but I'll bet your dog knows how to sit, even just a little.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
Down, she's more down.
Okay, which is good. That's actually the harder behavior, so you've gotten a good start there. The reason I bring that up,
always, she's looking up at the tree, it's waiting for that tree.
nothing wrong with that, we'll talk about why that's important in a little bit as well. The reason I bring that up is that even if I have 6 people here who I know have never done a lick of training, all of those dogs at least have some idea of how to sit. So why did you have to sign up for a training class or another training class? In other words, why can't we just say sit when people come in the door and have that be enough? What happens?
They grow.
What's that?
They grow and get bigger.
They get physically bigger. So why doesn't your sit work? What happens? Why does it fall apart?
Distracted by
Distractions, okay? We say to the dog, sit, and the dog says, but, somebody's here, I'm so excited, okay? And we say to the dog, sit, and the dog says, well, I'll do it, but just for half a second, okay? So it doesn't last very long. And we might say to the dog, sit, but I want you to sit over there, and the visitor's over there, so I want you to do it really far away. And the dog says, that's really hard, I don't know if I can do that. We call it the 3 Ds, distance, duration, distraction. But to simplify it, what it really means is that whatever sit you've got is not strong enough to withstand the real world. Okay, think of it that way. Alrighty, I just need you to fill that out. Okay, think of a foreign language. Okay, if anybody speaks Spanish. Hola, ¿cómo está? Anybody?
Yeah.
Okay? Now, if you passed Lori and I walking on the street and you heard that little exchange, okay? You might say, oh, they speak Spanish. They understand Spanish. But the fact of the matter is, that's the only Spanish that I know. Hola, ¿cómo está? Hi, how are you? That's basically it. And that's usually how much sit our dog knows. What does our dog know? Sit in the kitchen, by the cookie jar, right? In the same place where we always do it. And what we want out of our dogs, from the time they're puppies, from the time we see that very first sit, we go, okay, you know it, now do it for the rest of your life, everywhere we go, every time I ask, no matter what's going on. So we expect fluency. We expect the dog to sit all the time, everywhere, no matter what's going on. And that's like saying that with my little bit of Spanish, that I could go to Spain, sit in a restaurant, order off the menu, read the language, speak it to the waiter, understand the conversation of the people behind me, and keep up, okay? That's fluency. So what we need to do is take whatever sit you've got now and bring it to the next level. People say, what do you do in Family Dog 1? Well, same skills we did in Puppy. What do you do in Family Dog 2? Same thing we did in Family Dog 1. What do we do in Family Dog 3? Same stuff. Sit, down, come, stay. Except we're doing it 30 feet away, off leash. Okay? And the level of what they understand, or the level of what they're able to perform, changes with further training. Okay, let me get your homework sheet. So, what we really need to do is take the behaviors that they either already have, okay, because we're not asking them to do anything magical, like stand on one leg like this. They already do sit and lay down and come and stay. We just need to take those behaviors and make them much, much, much stronger so they withstand the stuff that happens in real life. Now, how do you make a behavior stronger? You buy a house, it's an old house, and the inspector looks at it and he says, ah, that one basement wall, it's a little shaky. What do you have to do with that wall? You gotta reinforce it. So reinforcement is the key. The scientific term, the scientific definition of reinforcement is anything that makes a behavior stronger, okay? If Candace happens to walk in and sit down in that chair, and I run over and give her $1,000, is it more or less likely she's going to sit in that chair the next time she walks in? Okay? Much more likely. If she walks in and sits down in that chair and I run over and punch her in the face, okay? That is going to decrease the likelihood of that behavior. She probably wouldn't even walk in the door. So we want to look at what our dogs do. And if you like a behavior, you're going to make it stronger, you're going to pay the dog, all right? So what today is really all about, in a very, very, very big way, is reinforcement. Because a lot of times we think we're making a behavior stronger. The dog sits and we go, oh, that was good, and we go to pet the dog on the head. Most dogs hate being petted on the head. They tolerate it. Okay? A lot of them, and if you look very closely, I'll see if I can demo this with Ludwig later. If we have time, I'll take him out. That if you saw it in slow motion, most dogs go,